Alright, so let's talk about the long-awaited Doki Doki Inferno guide. This one was a lot trickier than the rest of the thresholds. Doki Doki involves some sort of RNG because of the innate 10% effect of resistance that the enemies have. It's like a hidden modifier basically, so even if you had 100%, there's still a chance that it can fail, even though it's very small. So let's take a look at the units that are going to be here. I'm using Messiah, and I'm using Yeli. I'm just using 2 DPSs because that allows us to burst down the enemies really quickly. You do not want to sit there for long. If you have one really powerful DPS, you can get away with that and run someone that has defense break. Currently, Yeli does have defense break, but because the effect accuracy isn't that high, the chance of it even hitting is so low that it doesn't really matter. But you want your DPSs to have an S3 skill that hits every single enemy on the field. You can still use Ramilka because she does have splash damage. I don't have one built, so I can't really tell how good she would be, but watching her perform in Hell 4, I would assume that as long as she is invested, she will do well in Inferno. So she can get away with not having a super good AoE on her S3 because of her splash damage. Shada is really good here too. She's probably one of the prime DPSs to use here. But we're just using Yeli and Messiah. Going over the modules, it is Onslaught Kenai. These are the stats. You just want crit rate, crit damage as the substats. I have it in crit rate and double crit damage because of the attack damage I'm getting here. Eventually, I want to replace this shell with something with Onslaught so that you have more damage coming through. Skills, like I said, very invested. 554. This is where all my lattices went to, are these 2 characters. And the shell we're using obviously is Revelation because he's really good in this fight. You just want the center slot to be whatever you need it to be. If you have enough crit rate, you go crit damage. If you have no crit rate at all, you can go with crit rate there. As you can see, we have 91 crit rate. It's just really hard to get 100 in this game. So 91, it is what it is if we don't crit. As for Yeli, she is on Onslaught Kenai, just because I don't feel like moving around gear, so I'm just using her for all 3 farms, all 3 thresholds. She is also very invested, 554. Like I said, you want to be very invested when doing Inferno. Your DPSs must be maxed out on what they want, because look at this, this is what people don't get. These buffs here help so much, right? Attack 100, attack 5%, attack 10%. They help a long way, even though this particular one doesn't really work that well here, because you just need up to the 240% damage multiplier for more damage. But just these extra buffs that are just here, they help a lot, right? The speed from here, the crit rate from here, they all help really well when building your DPSs. So same thing, crit rate, crit damage on substats. I have our crit damage, crit rate because of the huge attack buff we're getting on Onslaught. So it takes advantage of the crit rate and crit damage. We're using Revelation because Revelation is still the most broken shell in the game when coming to doing damage. So for our healer, we're using Linglo. She is probably a must-need here, and that's glad to say that because we all have her. Her S1 needs to be maxed out. This whale prayer is going to be very important here, so you guys don't get stunned that easily. You don't get attacked down, speed down, all that horrible effects. You can purify them pretty easily. You want the S3 to be maxed out eventually. It's not really necessary here specifically, but this will just help with the 1-turn cooldown. As for modules, we have her on Swift Rush Time Weave. We want skills to come off cooldown, so I have her on Time Weave. And the good thing is, because we were farming Hell 4, Doki Doki, we have a bunch of Swift Rush and Time Weave. And what a coincidence that it works that way. As for the stats here, we have defense, HP bonus, and HP. This needs to be turned to HP bonus. I just don't have one at the moment. So your Linglo can probably be better than mine's. I'm testing defense. I'm not really sure if she really needs it. It could just be HP bonus probably, but we'll see how it goes once we replace this one here. As for the shell, Gigabyte is the key here, because these, from my testing, it seems like these guys have around 270 to 290 speed, like the enemies in Doki Doki Inferno. So unless your speed's like 300 or something, probably you're not going to outspeed them. I've never outsped them. Maybe after farming Inferno and we have the extra sets, we can probably try to outspeed them. But for now, we're using Gigabyte because when they take action, you get to go first and go up. The requirement here is that you need a speed substat here. This passive effect is going to help a lot. So make sure that whatever you put on this Linglo, it is this. If you don't have a Gigabyte, you can kind of get away with other things like Artisan and stuff. But like, I really think Gigabyte is a must-have for this character. You just want her to keep going and keep purifying your team and keep hitting immunity. As for our other unit, we're going to use Kazuyo the Riveri. This is going to be our crowd control unit. This is one of the key factors in keeping the Doki Doki units under control. They have a 90% damage reduction if they're not crowd controlled, and it only lasts for 2 turns before they get their defense buff back, unlike the 3 turns from the previous one on Hell 4. So, modules, we're using Swift Rush. This can be a lot better. I just have Swift Rush because I need to like fix this up. You want Swift Rush Time Weave more than likely because that allows her to get her cooldowns back a lot faster and gives the effect accuracy. What I have on her here is effect accuracy, defense, and effect accuracy. If you suck with effect accuracy, you can remove this and put a 3rd effect accuracy. The only reason why I'm not doing that is because of my shell. I have this right here, Insight, the 48% effect accuracy in the very beginning. It helps a lot, and it's the first wave that you have the most trouble with, in my honest opinion. So the skills are, this needs to be maxed out guaranteed, and your slumber, in my opinion, needs to be at least at level 3 to get the 30% chance to put the slumber. I have it at level 4 because of this right here, the extra speed stats you get here. You want this unit to be as fast as possible, so getting this is going to be very key in making sure your runs are more successful. And like I said, Jackal the Guard is very good here. There's another strategy we can talk about here too. If you can nuke the first wave and you're okay with probably failing some runs because you couldn't crowd control the entire first wave, you can use Codex of Magic. So what happens is you kill the first wave in Doki Doki, and then because of Codex of Magic, when you start the second wave, you automatically have an S3 ready to go again on the second wave. The problem with that though is that you win the run if you crowd control the entire first wave. If you don't crowd control the entire first wave, you probably lose the run, because then you may not have your S3 anywhere near where it needs to be when you go into the second wave. So that's just food for thought. Like, that's something you can experiment. I've done it and it worked fine, but my runs, like right now, I get 8 out of 8 runs with my team. If I do that, it's sometimes like 5 out of 8 runs. Sometimes 8 out of 8 runs. Like it's random, but you're at least, it's at least it helps a lot with the speed clearing, basically, I should say. Like we said, Jackal needs to have speed on the center slot, and Jackal lets you make multiple moves. Right, this 25% move increase and the 3-turn speed buff is going to help greatly when it comes to your crowd control. And our final unit is Chaiki the Echo. This is my attack buffer and also turn meter pusher. It helps a lot with clears. It allows you to do quite a bit of damage. She is on Unbreakable and Swift Rush because the units hit very hard. So I have her trying to survive all their onslaughts. Skills, I mean, like, your 4 stars probably should be maxed out. I just don't do it because there's no reason to do it. Like, so there's no reason to waste resources right now. I just have this Purify at level 4 because, similar to our other characters, you get the speed increase there. So you want your buffer to go before your DPS dealers. This shell is probably going to be very important in this fight. Artisan is really good at putting a bunch of defense up on your characters, allowing you to survive a lot of hits. Just make sure this is speed, just like the previous support advice. So let's take a look at a run and see how it goes. All right, so because my units are a little bit stronger, I put Codex of Magic here because I do have a problem where my units wipe out the first wave too quickly to where Kaz does not have her ultimate on the second phase, because that helps with survivability a lot. If you're now trying to do Inferno, you're probably not as strong as me, So you probably take a couple of turns to destroy these guys. So like what you really want is to spend only 2 turns here, and that helps greatly if you have Jackal. So we're gonna watch how this plays out. But you see these guys go, he goes, now look, she cuts in. And none of these have attack down. So because they don't have attack down, now you're able to wipe out this entire first wave as long as Kaz does not fail the crowd control. So she didn't fail it on... Oh, no, she did fail it. So that's... Now you're going to see it's not going to be good. Because everyone's going to die except for this guy here. And now that he's still alive, Kaz is going to go, unfortunately. And now he's dead. Because unfortunately my DPSs are going to just completely nuke this guy down. So we'll see how this plays out. But this is one of the downsides using Codex and Magic. As you saw, if I didn't whiff the sleep, it's going to be really good. They would have all died, and I would have had the slumber for this one. But as long as units survive until Kaz can go again, it's going to be pretty good. So they just need to survive one more time here. So Linglo, this is where it gets really good. If your skill was maxed out, you would have had it then. Now you have it a turn later, but it's fine. Now, here comes the moment of truth. As long as your units don't get stunned right here, these guys are pretty much dead. Because Kaz is going to go. You see that cut-in's going to help a lot, right? Because now she's going to go and she's going to heal your units. Kaz goes, hits them. If they're all slept, then it's good. Nope, they're not all slept. So what's going to probably happen is the side guys are going to die, leaving only the center guy, which is still fine. And the success rate I have is very high with this. Because generally, no matter what happens, this like the scene you see ends up happening. And you're just able to completely nuke thanks to Revelation and your AoE damage dealers. Now, like I said, if you're DPS, you have a strong DPS that's like a single DPS that's really strong that keeps launching things, right? Like Shada is probably the best one for that. You can run another crowd control unit so that you have higher success. But I wanted to see if I can do it with one crowd control unit, and this is it here. And as you guys saw, no Inferno gear at all on my units. Not a single one. So it's to prove to you guys that you do not need Inferno gear. And as you saw, my gear, I saw some yellow gear on my characters. I had like flat HP on my Linglo, and I'm still able to do this. You just have to speed tune your characters properly, have the right shouts, and take advantage of the fact that you're farming health 4. So the time weave and the swift rush, right? Like combining that, you know, is going to help a lot. Combining what you have learned from beating Hell 4. Now, if you want to outspeed them, here's where things get a little bit funny. If you can farm Inferno, you can put Swift Rush for that 35% speed. And then I'm going to test it. You can put Swift Raid as well for the extra speed. And you see if you can break the speed barrier so that this character right here, Kaz, so she can go first. Because if she goes first, she takes away almost all of the RNG that the opponent can do to you. So I hope this video was helpful. I hope you learned some tips to get through Doki Doki Inferno. I'm the Gacha Game Cultivator, and catch us on the next videos.